you? Today we are going to do a story time. I was gonna do another walk with me, but it's been raining for 7 days here, and I'm kind of tired of it, honestly. You know, it's starting to feel like we should have been building an ark or something. But anyway, today we are going to talk about the time I was walking and hit by a car. The story goes, my husband and I had decided to go visit his family in Poland for Christmas one year. And we, you know, where we live, it doesn't snow much. It might snow maybe 3 days times a year, that's it. And when it does, everything shuts down. The second day, things are usually closed because what happens is it melts, it turns to ice, and nobody can drive on ice. And by the third or fourth day, we're all back to our normal routine. So I had got all this gear for cold weather because I haven't been in very much cold weather since I was a kid. So we go over to Poland, and I'm real careful. You know, his family lives in the countryside. So I love the little village he's from. It's really cute. The people are very kind, very sweet, and I enjoy them every time that I go. But there's really no walkway because it like I said, it's in the countryside, and country people in general, they work. They don't need to exercise because they're already active. And so like I'm out there walking down this road every day, usually when I go, and it's nice. But on this trip, since it was winter and we hadn't traveled there together in the winter before, I decided I was going to be real careful and not go up and down. Well, they call it Serpentina, which is basically this really long, windy road, and it's really pretty, really scenic. And I didn't go walk it. You know, we did go into a nearby town, and I did my walking there, and it was fine. But I was very, very careful because all I could think about is, you know, these people drive different than the way they do here. You know, not everybody's been driving for 30, 40 years like here. So I was very careful. We come back to the United States. It snows not even a week or so after we're back. And, you know, my husband and I are like, well, you know, we're already used to this weather because we've been in it the last couple weeks. Why don't we go and walk to the nearest shopping center and go get some soup at the Chinese store or something like that? And I'm like, yeah, that's a great idea. So we go, and first day it was nice. It was wonderful. There's plenty of traction in the road because the snow was all fluffy. The second day, everything had melted and turned to ice. But we wanted to go, so we went anyway. And there's no sidewalks where we're walking to get to the shopping center. So we're walking on the side of the road in the snow because, like I said, there's no traction because everything's ice for the most part. So the only traction there is on the side of the road. And we're walking, and I hear somebody yell. I turn, and then next thing I know, I'm waking up in snow next to the woods. And there's a cop there, and there's my husband, and he's, you know, thinking, oh, maybe get up, you'll be all right. And I'm like, I don't want to move. I don't feel right. And, you know, the cop said, no, don't move her, because if something's broken, you're just going to injure her more. So the ambulance arrives almost around the same time I'm coming to, because I was literally knocked out from the time the car hit me to the time around the time the ambulance got there. So I get the ambulance or whatever, and amazingly, no broken bones. Only thing that really happened is I had a concussion, and I tried to go back to work like the week after because I thought I was fine. Concussions aren't always detected like right away, so you know, I went to the hospital. They were like, "Oh, you're fine," you know. But I wasn't fine. I go back to work. everything's like challenging and I couldn't think through things. I kind of panic or whatever. So I go to the hospital and they're like, oh, well, you suffered a concussion. And I didn't really get back to it or start feeling normal for several months. But considering I was walking and hit by a car that literally, I guess what happened was this guy was driving on ice thinking, oh, this happens a lot when you get these people from these colder climates moving to warmer places, and then they're like, oh, I could drive in anything. And nobody can drive on ice, but they drive anyway. So this guy was driving like 45 miles an hour, and one of the cars start like kind of turning, and the other car that was going 45 swerves to miss that car, but instead hits me. And all this did was give me a concussion. So in that sense, I feel extremely fortunate. It was very interesting because as soon as I started coming to, I was very calm, and I told my husband, call my parents and call my boss. I don't know why those were the two numbers I told him to call, but that's what I told him, and he's a good husband because that's exactly what he did. But after that, it took me a while to get back to normal. Like, I mean, clearly if you suffer a concussion, you're probably not walking around and doing all that normal stuff because everything you just don't feel right. And so it kind of, I was just getting back to my exercise routine, my regular walking around that time. So clearly, once I suffered that concussion, I wasn't really anxious to start walking or exercising again. And clearly, after something like that, you're going to want to start walking before you start doing other physical exercise. So I start healing, I start feeling better, but I mentally wasn't quite right to feel comfortable with walking because, side of the road, hit by a car. But it's not like I'm having anxiety or panic attacks about it. It's just, it just really threw me off. And so 6 months go by and I start realizing I need to exercise again. I need to get back with it. But at that point, I know that if I start doing it again, I'm going to hurt really bad because I hadn't done it in so long. And I just didn't want to hurt. That's the reality of it. I just didn't want to hurt. So I got really lazy. At first I wasn't exercising because I was just, I was legitimately hurt. But then I got lazy because I didn't want to hurt. I didn't I didn't want to start all over again. And if you're not active and you're still eating the way you were when you're active, it just turns to weight gain. And that's exactly what happened. I got lazier and lazier, did less and less, gained weight, felt sick, and horrible stuff. And it's been 2 years. I moved past that. But I'll tell you the thing that really made me decide that, okay, I need to start taking my diet and weight a little bit more serious. And everybody has their funny little things that trigger them to do what they should do. And for me, it was a conference. I went to a conference for work, and a picture was taken of me with my boss and a colleague that usually helps out with these. And I looked at myself, and clearly, I felt as wide as the two of them put together. Granted, they're not big people, but it doesn't matter, I felt almost as wide as the two of them, and then I looked at my face smiling, and it's like I couldn't see my eyes. I'm like, okay, I'm so big, I can't see. Where are my eyes? That's pretty bad. And that was the thing that made me said, okay, I need to take this a little bit more serious. But on a side note, it's just not weight thing. There's other things, like I am vitamin deficient. I have to take certain vitamins. That's a factor. There's other things like I have gluten allergies. And it's not a fad, because I know some people, they eat gluten-free because they're on a fad diet, but if I eat gluten, I legitimately get sick. I can't really do dairy either. Sometimes I can get away with a little bit of mild cheese, like a white cheese, but most of the time I can't. And, I wanted a milkshake one time, and I really wanted it because I really like milkshakes, the creaminess and everything. And I thought, well, maybe this one time I'll be alright. So I got the smallest milkshake I could get, and it had like peanut butter and chocolate, and I was super excited. Oh, and turns out I also have problems with peanuts too. But anyways, so I have this milkshake, and before the night was over, I was throwing up and spent the whole night throwing up. So, I do have to say that, yeah, the accident did play to it, but there were other things that played into it. Food allergies, laziness. It all adds up. So, we need to be cautious of these things and aware of these things. And the other thing is, when someone says they can't eat something, don't assume that it's a fad diet, or if they're just trying to, be cool or something. I literally get sick when I eat certain things, and sometimes I eat certain things to be polite. And if you're like me and someone says free, you think, well, it's free, I might as well. But, is free worth being sick the next day? Not really. But, again, we all have different things that cause us to gain weight and not take care of ourselves. And we should be a little bit more aware, I just really think that, accidents happen. People make mistakes, people do dumb things, and it's a lot of work. Metabolisms change, you get older, we can't stay young forever. Used to be when you're like in your early teens and stuff, you can especially in your growing spurt, you could literally like go on a diet of junk food and lose weight. But as you get older, that just doesn't work. And it's all bad. But back to the car story, or getting hit, I do have to say that I felt like I was protected. I had a very calm spirit about me. I was just hit by a car, and I wasn't panicking. I wasn't upset. I wasn't stressed. I remember my family being around me, and they were all upset and worried, and I'm just like, it's okay. I feel fine. Just wait. And, it all turned out all right. And, we just don't know how things are going to affect us. And, sometimes it's a car accident, sometimes it's not. And we should be sensitive to other people and what they're going through. You never really know. It sometimes seems like that people aren't going through anything, or if they're successful, it's easy to assume that they don't have to struggle, or if they have something that you don't, that their life is somehow easier. But that's really not true. You never know what somebody else is going through. You never know what somebody else is experiencing. And you really should just remember that sometimes they just might need someone to tell them it's going to be all right. And, this situation may affect you, but don't let it affect you long term. Till next time. If you guys want more story times, or have any ideas of other things you'd like to listen to or know about, let me know. Give me input on ideas. And I'll see you next time.